Never thought I'd be here, but yet here I am this weekend. My wife, 38, and our daughter, 13, went to visit her mom. I couldn't go because I couldn't get the time off work, and we decided it would just be a girls' weekend for them. I'm a firefighter in a large southern city, and I'm on a call and gearing up when our dispatcher calls in to tell me that there is some emergency. I'm not really needed on the work call, so I get my cell phone and find a bunch of texts from my kid, and a couple from a number I don't have in my phone. In the course of about 11 text messages, I learned that my daughter has gone ice skating and fallen and broken her wrist. She's in the emergency room but cannot get treatment because no one can find my wife. The number that I don't know belongs to a friend of my wife's who has gone to the emergency room to sit with my kid. She was the chaperone for the girls who had gone skating. So I call this friend, and after a lot of hemming and hawing, she admits that wifey has gone to dinner with some random guy. Well, we always leave our location shared with the family because of my job, and sure enough, I pull up an address and Google it, and it's a hotel. This was 10 p.m. It's now almost 4 hours later, and she hasn't answered my texts, but she did finally call our kid. I have permission and insurance information, and she got a cast and a referral to see an orthopedist when she gets home. The friend took our daughter back to her grandmother's and texted me. She said, "I'm sorry you had to find out this way about that guy. Apparently it's been going on every time she's gone home that I haven't gone. Meanwhile, I've worked countless hours of overtime to pay off our house, take us a nice vacations, send our daughter to the most expensive private school in our city. I'm a fool." Spoke with a lawyer. As many of you suggested during that conversation, I realized that she doesn't really have a lot of access to money. That is, hers removed her as an authorized user of my credit cards, put two-factor authentication on just about anything else that she might try to get her hands on, pulled my credit report to discover that she opened a joint credit card I didn't know about since I'm on the account as well. I was able to log in and print out the charges, a basically perfect timeline of restaurants and hotels that she has paid for. Turns out she also has accounts on Tinder and Bumble, which showed up when I combed through the last few phone bills. Have a pal who is a deputy sheriff in these parts who's going to be here tonight. When she gets home, I've gotten her a room at a nearby hotel for the week and paid for it up front. She can sleep there for now and figure it out on her own starting tomorrow. Daughter and I spoke, and she knows what is up and is angry at mom, so next steps are to find someone for her to talk to. Thanks to my job, I've got great insurance, so that is one less thing to worry about. When the time came from my wife's return, I was ready. A deputy sheriff, an old friend, agreed to be present during our confrontation. I had booked her a room at a nearby hotel for a week, paying up front. It was time she tasted a bit of the uncertainty she had thrust upon me. The confrontation was far from pleasant. Her pleas and apologies fell on deaf ears. I handed her the hotel room keys, told her to pack her things and leave. She was shocked, but I remained indifferent. My daughter, teeming with anger, chose to stay with me later. I made the hard call to her mother. It was a difficult conversation, but it was necessary. She was appalled. And though she defended her daughter initially, the evidence I had amassed was irrefutable. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Divorce proceedings began, and my lawyer was ruthless. The evidence of her infidelity was a strong case in my favor. I retained the house my daughter chose to stay with me, and I managed to secure a good portion of our assets. Meanwhile, my wife's life began to spiral. The man she had betrayed me for turned out to be a professional con man. He disappeared, leaving her heartbroken and penniless. It was a hard lesson, but she was now reaping what she had sown. The revenge I sought came in an unexpected form. I had managed to safeguard my interests, protect my daughter, and expose my wife's infidelity. She was left to face the consequences of her actions while I began to rebuild our lives. It wasn't an easy journey. The pain of betrayal lingered, but I was determined to move forward. I invested time in healing, in reconnecting with my daughter, and in learning to trust again. In the end, the best revenge was not in causing her pain, but in showing her that she had not broken me. I emerged from the storm stronger and more resilient, ready to face whatever life had in store. Despite everything, I felt a strange sense of gratitude. The betrayal had set in motion a series of events that led me to a better understanding of myself. I was not a fool, as I had initially thought. I was a survivor story. 2. It's been nearly a year since it happened, and I still haven't processed it properly. I thought I had met my dream girl. She honestly came across as the sweetest and most innocent person, but she was living a double life right under my nose. We had been engaged for a few months and were very excited about starting our life together. We were quite young in our 20s. I was working so hard in 2 jobs to get us set up financially. She had a job, but it was a small salary, and she was still studying on the side. I was extremely committed and wanted to give us a good life. We were trying to live a healthier lifestyle together by eating better and exercising regularly. The topic of getting a gym membership then came up. We discussed each getting a membership so we could go to the gym together anyway. Then one day, she told me out of the blue that she had signed herself up at a different gym instead of the original one we planned on going to. I didn't think much of it and didn't mind. I thought it was a bit weird, but I was happy to gym alone at the original one. Her new gym was too far away from where I lived. We weren't living together, so a little while goes by, about a week. She's gone to the gym a few times. I've been nice, asked if she's enjoying it, etc. All seems okay, but she starts acting a bit weird. She is being distant and snappy, and I don't know why. A few days pass and it just gets worse. She starts becoming extremely aggressive towards me for no reason and wouldn't open up. This started to give me a very suspicious feeling, and I wanted to figure out what was going on. So I did some digging and remembered that she logged in onto her Instagram a while ago on my computer. I checked, and thankfully still had access to her account. But what I found was horrifying. I found a long chat between her and a guy who worked at the gym. The chat spanned over a week or so and started fairly casual, like thanks for helping me sign up, etc. But then it got very explicit very quickly. I had to read about the things they wanted to do to each other and then the things they did do to each other. And guess where they hooked up? In the gym's office. I was disgusted, shocked, and literally sick to my stomach. I phoned her immediately and told her what I found and that it was over. She first denied it, but when she realized I saw the chat, she just hung up on me. Also, I don't mean this in a nasty way, but the guy she hooked up with was really not a typically attractive guy. I'm a good-looking guy, tall, green eyes, dark hair, and toned. She went for a slob over me, and I can't understand why I then phoned her parents to tell them what happened. At first, they said that's impossible. She's nothing like that. I then sent them the chat. After they took a while processing it, they tried to shift blame onto me. They said I neglected her and was too busy with work. WTF, I was working hard to provide for her. In the aftermath, I realized that I couldn't just let things slide. I was hurt, but more than that, I was furious. This wasn't just a simple mistake. She had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed, and I was determined to ensure she faced the consequences. My first step was to hire a private investigator. I wanted irrefutable proof, something that no one could deny. I wanted to expose her for who she truly was. The private investigator was an old friend from school who had started his own agency. I briefed him about the situation, and he agreed to help me out. He trailed her for a week, gathering evidence of her infidelity. The damning piece came when he managed to record a video of her with the gym guy, clearly in a compromising position. The video was grainy, but there was no mistaking who it was. Armed with the evidence, I decided to expose her publicly. I remembered that she had logged into her Facebook account on my laptop a while ago, so I logged back in. My heart pounded as I uploaded the video with a caption that simply read, "Weddings off." I hit post and sat back waiting for the fallout. Within minutes, the video had started to garner views and comments. Friends and family expressed their shock and disbelief, some defending her, others calling her out. I watched as the numbers climbed, the reactions pouring in. My phone buzzed with calls and texts, but I ignored them all. I had said what I needed to say. Her parents called demanding an explanation. I told them to check their daughter's Facebook page. The line went silent, then clicked off. Hours later, there was a frantic knock at my door. It was her, tears streaming down her face, begging for forgiveness. But I was beyond forgiving. I coldly told her to get out, that I wanted nothing to do with her. She fell to her knees pleading, but I stood firm. I collected her things and threw them out onto the porch. She looked at me stunned as I slammed the door in her face. "It do